and then sits down because he doesn't really have a last name or anything. He doesn't really have any titles, so he's working on this fancy introduction for just a very short name.
The ringleader, he gestures to the other two and says, "This is Thea and Roman, and I am Ravana." And when you take his hand, you see his eyes for just a moment flash black.
Like all black? Like no whites in his eyes? Okay. Can I roll to see what this guy's intentions are? Like, can I roll to see if I get a bad feeling about this?
Yeah, you can roll just like a vibe check.
Yeah, that sounds good. Oh goodness, I think I need to replace the dice on this. I've got a 3. I think I'm falling right into the trap here.
I think you just can't tell. It's definitely unnerving. That's not natural, but there is something still just so charismatic about this guy. And just as you're like tilting your head to the side to maybe even ask like what just happened, he waves a hand and suddenly the music starts again from that same like unclear place as where the laughter was coming from. This music just starts emanating. It's the same tune that the elf was strumming on the guitar before, but it's now like escalated with like many more instruments, like a full orchestra. And Roman and Thea start performing. Thea and Roman, they do this elaborate synchronized routine, and it incorporates the trees and the surroundings in this like really organic and beautiful way. Like they're swinging in circles, like in flips on the trees. They're jumping and diving crosswordly synchronized with each other like dolphins do in those like fancy dolphin shows. And it's like they can almost like take flight. Like that's how like limber and ethereal almost they are. And it's like this just like really fun performance. And then it ends, and Ravana kind of like waves his hand, and suddenly like there's like applause that echoes from where the music was coming from. And then it slowly fades out, and Ravana turns to you and puts his hands under his chin like an excited child and says, "Oh, so what did you think? What did you think? How was it?"
Thorn's just a little bit speechless. He's like doing that thing where his like jaw is wagging, but he's not talking. And he's amazing, amazing. I've never seen anything like it in all my travels.
Well, I wouldn't have expected you to. We really have quite a unique group of talents here. And he says, and there's more surprises. Of course, we can't show them to you now. You'll have to wait till our main show. And he gestures to the red velvet covered cage in the center of the circle. That one's very special, and we're excited to share it. But I can't just like show a random audience member. You'd have to come to our main show.
But you must show me. I feel like we're such. I know I haven't known you that long, but I feel like this is the beginning of a great friendship, and you really could show me. I wouldn't give it away. I promise.
Go ahead and make a roll.
Oh my God, 5.
He goes, "I appreciate your enthusiasm, but it's too exciting, even to show you, even with how close we've gotten, which I do truly believe we are now the best of friends." And he gestures to Thea and Roman. The three of us, I think we'd better go check on the horses. They just leave you there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the three of them kind of like go off. And you can hear, now that you think about it, like you can hear like in the distance, there's like been horse neighs and like there's definitely like some horses somewhere nearby, probably tied up to a tree so they wouldn't interrupt the festivities or something like that. But they go off into the woods to tend to their horses.
I feel like for a bit there, Thorn just sort of like sits there with like his like hands on his knees, patiently and eagerly waiting, and then that little worm starts to get into his head of maybe I should peek under that cover and look at what they got. It doesn't take long, you can see him like getting a little bit more antsy, like he's like patting his knees a little bit faster and sort of wondering where these people are at. And then he just sort of gets up and cautiously sneaks over to the fire pit where this cage is to sneak a peek under the cover.
Are you just checking under the cover, or are you like whipping it off? Like, what's the...
I think Thorn is going to be subtle, and he's going to lift it up to look at it, but he's not going to whip it off or anything because he wants to hide the evidence. He doesn't want to upset his new friend.
So the first thing that you see is a pair of pale green talons with shiny black nails. As you peer up further, you can see these just like pure white feathers covered in dark black speckles. And the further up you look, you can see this like deep black feathery body of this massive 3-foot-tall bird with a crown of feathers on its head.
Wow, a 3-foot-tall bird?
Yeah, and its beak is clamped shut with a gold band.
That won't do. I can't speak to it if its beak is clamped. Or can I? Hold on. Are the bars wide enough that I could slip my hand in and touch it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I would like to use my ability, Speak with Animal, wherein I touch an animal that is not currently hostile towards me. So if it's hostile towards me, I might have to do something about that. You just let me know. But I form a telepathic bond with it for the next minute, and I'm capable of interpreting its thoughts and feelings, and I can have an exchange of communication with it. It can give basic information about things like how it feels, what it has seen, what it wants, but it does not understand complex ideas.
Okay, so that happens. What do you say?
If I've got my hand in there and it's not hostile towards me, then I'm going to start sort of stroking its feathers and say, hey there. Hey, can I tell if it's male or female, this bird?
Yeah, so the voice that you hear, and you can't tell just by looking at it because you're not like...
I'm not a bird
expert. But when you hear a voice come back to you, it does sound pretty feminine, and she says, hello?
Hi, hey, how's it going? My name's Thorn, and I'm worried about you a little bit because you got that thing around your beak. Are you feeling okay? I just want to know if she's okay with that on her face, because that doesn't seem really cool with Thorn. Thorn's not really into that sort of thing.
She does a motion where she rubs her beak on the side of her shoulder as if like to rub or roll the band off of her beak, but of course it doesn't work. And as she does that, the thought in her mind that comes is, I don't like the cage.
Yeah, no, you know what? I don't think I like the cage on you either. It's not a good look for you. I think you'd be better off flying in the sky. What do you think?
She nods and you just hear, yes, the sky. I like the sky. The wind.
We only got a little bit before I won't be able to talk to you anymore. What's your name?
My name? They call me the greatest bird.
Wow. And you know what? You are the greatest bird. I'm going to help you out. Don't worry, okay?
But I don't like just being the greatest bird. I don't have another name.
Okay. Well, listen, we'll figure that out when I get you out of here, okay? So don't you worry. Thorn's going to place the cover back down over the cage, and he sort of turns away from it, and you see he's got a different look on his face. He's no longer like whimsical looking. He's very serious and determined right now.
Just as you kind of put down the fabric, she definitely nods, and she makes eye contact with you, and you can see she's got these like faded greenish yellow eyes and almost like a furrowed eyebrow, and she nods and looks at you right in the eyes.
Thorn's feeling very serious now, but then he sort of shakes himself loose for a second and says, "Oh, Ravana!"
Ravana comes stumbling out of the woods with a flask now, and he goes, "Oh, Thorn! How was your moment alone to bask in our performance? Did you realize any great facts of life?"
You know what, Ravana? I did realize something. I realized that even with all your greatness,
I am very great, aren't I?
yeah, and even with all that and all your showmanship, you can still turn out to be a bad person.
He looks confused.
And you know what, Ravana? I feel hurt. I feel hurt by that, and I don't like it. I should have mentioned probably when I was describing Thorn that he's got a spear, which maybe he left behind, but he's also got a sword. And so he's going to draw his sword now and lower it, in the direction of Ravana's throat.
This is definitely unexpected, and he just tucks his hands behind his back and looks off into the woods. Roman, Thea, I think the party's getting a little bit interesting. And then he looks at you and his eyes flash black again and he says, "What do you want?"
I want this bird to go free. And at this point, he dramatically grabs the end of the cover and whips it off, revealing the greatest bird, as we know her so far. Which, hopefully doesn't startle her too much. But, he wants a big dramatic reveal because, he's a dramatic person.
As you pull the fabric off, you can see when the light hits her feathers, they look like a purple color, almost like a plum, almost as if the change in lighting just changes the color of her feathers a little bit.
You would chain and cage this beautiful bird for your own gain and satisfaction. And that doesn't sit right with me, Ravana.
I would share her great talents with the world. I never meant to hurt her. She kept biting me, and it was very difficult. And at that point, the other two emerge from the woods, and Ravana goes, "This is not a fight that you want, is it?"
No, it's not. I'm not one for violence, really. And you guys don't seem all that threatening. So I think if I had it my way, we'd just release the bird, and I'd go on my way. And you'd go on your way, and we'd never meet again.
I think that would be a roll.
Yeah, probably. I rolled a little bit better, a 9.
Okay, yeah, so that is a tough choice. So the tough choice that I give you is you can intimidate these three into giving you the bird. You get the bird free, but not on good terms with these three. They will remember this encounter.
What's the hard choice?
That is the hard choice. Or alternatively, you can back down and leave.
Oh, that's not even a choice. I mean, that was what I was going to go with already. So bad terms it is. Mortal enemies, even. If they can come after me for this bird if they want. I will see them later.
What do you do? What does it look like as you intimidate them into giving up the key to the cage?
He's just going to step forward until the tip of his sword is touching Ravana's throat. I'm not saying that Thorn has any power over plants, because he doesn't at this point. But I think there's some sort of natural power about him. And as he gets more angry, the trees start to sort of groan around him. There's just sort of this awful noise in the woods, and Ravana's sort of looking around him, are the trees going to come after me? All the plants and the grass is fluttering, and there's not even any wind, and all the trees are groaning, and he's like, "Give me the key now."
Ravana kind of fumbles in his pocket and pulls out a gold key to match the gold lock and just tosses it on the ground several feet away. Then he falls back dramatically and the other two catch him. What do you do?
Thorn snatches up the key and goes to unlock the cage. He's not really worried about these people. He doesn't see them as threats. I mean, they potentially could be, but he doesn't see them as threats right now. So he's going to sheath his sword and he's going to unlock the cage to this big bird.
And I think that the bird looks at you when the door opens. She just looks shocked. She doesn't know what to do. And she takes a few timid steps towards the edge of the cage and pokes her head out first. And then slowly follows the rest of her body and takes a few steps. But then looks down at the ground it's far down. And puts out a talon pawing the air almost.
I hope I'm strong enough to take this whole bird's weight on my arm. I'm going to reach out and give her my arm, which I don't think is going to be comfortable looking at those talons, but I'm ready for it, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
So she's blindly pawing the air or looking for something to put her talon on, and then your arm just is there. And she latches on with one talon and then timidly steps the other one out. And she's a lot